And good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Hi, Kim, how are you doing? Real quick test. I am on a shady internet connection. How's my voice coming through? How's my video coming through, everyone? It's good to see you. Thanks for coming. Hi, Kira. Can you hear me well enough? I'm not pixelating or anything weird's happening with the video, is it? Hi, too. Good to see you. Thanks. Okay, cool. I'm just glad you're here, Nicole. I appreciate that. Is my video coming through all right? Video seems fine. All right. Munoz says what? Good deal. For those of you who are just coming in, here's the attendance form to get credit. Go ahead and fill that out. Looks like I have Lawrence, Ashley, Laura, Anna, Sophie, Nicole, Chelsea, and 2 have already filled out the attendance sheet. Fantastic. Make sure you fill that out so you can get credit for being here today. It is 2:01. 2:01. How many people do we have in the class right now? Looks like I've got 7 of you here. All right. That's cool. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Kim Britton's filled it out. Thank you very much, Kim. Excellent. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Let's see. So here we are right now. You can see this screen. I've got Lawrence Mbuga, Ashley, Laura, Anna, Sophie, Nicole, Chelsea, 2, Kim, Kiana, and Michaela. Everybody's here. If you haven't filled out the attendance sheet, it is located in the chat bar. If you'll do that, you'll get credit for being here live. Let me go ahead and put that in the chat bar one more time. Somebody remind me to do that at the end of class too, because I'm sure we're going to have some people coming in late. Boy, it was great seeing everybody last night. I had a fantastic time in class, and I hope, hey Jen, and I hope that you become a less stressed person as a function of being in the class. Hi Amelia, hi Jen. Go ahead and fill out that attendance so that we can make sure you've got credit. Looks like Michaela, Amelia's filled it out. There we go. So you see everybody's listed here. Fantastic. We got about 13 people so far. Let's go ahead and get started on the exam review. If you remember, the exam is going to cover chapters 8, chapter 9, chapter 10, and chapter 11. We have 50 questions. Each question is worth 2 points. For a grand total of 100 points. There are going to be multiple choice, matching, and true-false questions on this exam. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type this. I'm going to go ahead and start talking. You know what I need to do? Hold on just a second, so that because I can't see the questions as I'm working here. Actually, let me see. Can I see the questions? No, I can't see them. Let me go ahead and boot up my. Let's see my video. Where is my live videos? Where are my videos? Okay, recently added my videos. Crud. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to have to bounce back and forth every couple of minutes to make sure that I'm getting the questions answered. Okay, cool, fantastic. I can see people here. We have Jen Parker. Okay, cool, excellent. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. So, chapter 8. Now, I can't see your questions. Wait a minute, hold on. Yes, I can. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it right there. Hold on, the screen's going to get weird real quick, but then I'll come right back to it. All right, there we go. All right, so I can see the chats here. Fantastic. Okay, good. Hi, Sophia. Don't forget to put the. Oh my goodness, that's ugly. Don't forget to type in the chat bar. Let's go on with chapter 8 real quick. Chapter 8's got 13 questions. 2 of those questions are matching. 2 of those questions are true, false, and 9 of them are going to be multiple choice questions. Okay, so here we go with chapter 8. The first question is going to be just a question where you have to tell me give me the general definition of intelligence. It's a multiple choice question, and I just want to make sure you know what the definition of intelligence is. I then have a couple of questions about the history of IQ questions, where were they invented, and who invented those questions. There's a PowerPoint slide which talks about where IQ tests are used. They're used in schools, they're used in court systems, they're used in businesses, they're used in clinical settings. So I do want you to know where IQ tests are used. Okay? We then talked about the difference between IQ, aptitude, and achievement tests. Remember, the test in my class is an achievement test and doesn't necessarily tell me if you're a smart person or not. It just tells you whether or not you prepared for my test. And I want you to be able to identify the difference between an aptitude and an achievement test. What I'm probably going to do is give you an example of either an aptitude or achievement test, and you have to tell me which one it is. Okay? Let me go back, see if we have any questions so far. Okay, Stressed Waffles here, just got off work. Thanks for coming. Stressed Waffle, please fill out the attendance form so you can get credit for being here. Anybody have any questions so far? If not, I'm going to go back to the exam real quick. Okay, good deal. All right, here we are back on the question. Okay, now, when we talked about IQ tests, I told you that you have one overall number which represents your IQ score, but then I want you to know that IQ tests measure both your verbal and your nonverbal reasoning. You're snoring. Sorry, my wife's back there snoring. Well, dude, quit snoring. Jeez. Okay. So I want you to know that IQ tests measure your verbal and your nonverbal reasoning. Well, I can't help it if you're snoring. Okay. All right. Now, there is a slide where we talk about whether or not IQ tests are a product of nature or nurture. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not going to tell you the answer right now, but be sure to go back into your PowerPoint slides and find out whether or not your IQ is more related to your nature or your nurture. Okay? We then talked about how IQ tests are used in school settings. So how exactly do we use IQ tests? What are they used for in academic settings? And so we talked about how they're used to help us identify people with learning disorders. So I want you to be familiar with that. Oh, here we go. I have the exam pop. Now I've got the video. Familiar with that. Whoa, goodness me. Okay, let's see. All right, cool. I got your questions right here. Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, let's see how IQ tests are used in school settings. All right, then what I have is I have a matching question where I give you 4 different people with different IQ scores. And if you'll remember, we have a PowerPoint slide where I showed you the IQ distribution. It's like this big normal distribution, a bell curve. And I told you that people whose IQ is between 85 and 115 are considered average, for better or for worse. People from 115 to 129 are above average. People from 84 down to 70 are considered below average. And then, you know, people below 70 and above 130 are considered different. Okay, so I do want you to be able, I'm going to give you some IQ scores and I want you to be able to identify them. So, for example, if I told you that Freddie's IQ was 89, can you tell me what will we characterize Eddie as? Would Eddie be gifted, average, or be listed as having an intellectual deficiency? Let's say his IQ, there you go, Sophia, very good, fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Okay, Kira says average. All right, cool, everybody knows that, fantastic. Okay, now, when we talked about the different settings in which IQ tests, this sort of goes along with the settings where IQ tests are used. I actually have another matching question, and I want you to know where the Wonderlic test is used, where the ASVAB test is used, and where the Stanford-Binet IQ and WAIST tests are used. So she's snoring again. It's okay, she had an overnight trip, so she's a bit tired. Okay. Now, I do have a question related to ethnic differences in IQ scores. I want you to go back into your PowerPoints and do a little research and discover whether or not there are IQ tests in IQ scores, ethnic differences in IQ scores and what those look like. Okay. Let's see. Criticisms of IQ tests. I'm sorry, I skipped an item. There is one question where I talked about the criticisms of modern IQ tests. I want you to know the criticisms of modern IQ tests. Okay? Let's see. Reliability versus validity. If you'll remember in the PowerPoint, in Chapter 8 PowerPoint, I talked about the properties of IQ tests. IQ tests have reliability and validity. I have a question where I give you a scenario and you have to tell me whether I'm talking about the IQ test's reliability or its validity. Okay? And the 13th question on Chapter 8 is I had a PowerPoint slide where I talked about Gardner's multiple intelligence, Sternberg's triarchic theory of intelligence, and EQ, or emotional quotient. And I'm going to give you a description, and I want you to be able to tell me which theory of intelligence I'm talking about. Okay? All right. Any questions on Chapter 8? So the matching questions are going to be match the IQ test to its settings, and the other matching question is going to be I give you 4 people with different levels of IQ, and you have to tell me what their designation would be based upon their IQ score. Wow, we've got 20 people here. Fantastic. Let me take a quick look. I've got 18 people having listed, having signed up on the roll sheet. So let me go ahead and send that through one more time. If you are here and want extra credit for attending this review session, please complete the attendance form that I just sent through the chat bar. Okay. I'm waiting, and I don't see any questions regarding Chapter 8. If you think of one in a second, don't hesitate to type it in the chat bar, and I will look for it. So let's go back to the review sheet. Do remember, this review sheet is in your exam folder. So if you want to go back and look at these questions again, or these comments again, it is in your PowerPoint folder. I see we have a 21st person joining the chat here. If you want extra credit for being here, please go ahead and type in the chat bar. So far, I've got 18 people having signed up for the chat. Let's make sure we get credit to everybody. I got Jovan Monroe, Natasha, Gabriella, Sophia, Jennifer, Amelia, Michaela, Kiana, Kim, 2, Chelsea, Nicole, Sophie, Anna, Laura, Ashley, and Lawrence. Let's make sure everybody gets their credit. Okay. I see we don't have any questions. Okay, cool. All right. Chapter 9 is all about motivation and emotion. Okay. I've got 14 questions on this chapter. 3 of those are going to be true and false questions, and 11 of them are going to be multiple choice questions. Okay. So let's say if I tell you that I am not getting paid extra for doing live broadcasts. You know how I do all these live broadcasts and interact with you? I don't get a single bit of money for doing this. I get paid just the same as the other teachers here. I do it because I have a lot of fun doing it. Am I extrinsically motivated or intrinsically motivated to do what I'm doing? Can you folks tell me? Is that an example of extrinsic or intrinsic motivation? And I'll wait in the chat bar. Okay. Okay, Sophia says extrinsic. I might disagree with you, Sophia. It's intrinsic. Intrinsic is when you do something because you like it. If you're doing something for money, if you're doing something for extra credit, okay, so you folks are coming to this review session. Most of you are probably doing it because you want to make a better grade on the test and because you like the extra credit. That's an extrinsic motivator. Okay, good, Stressed Waffle, you got it right. Okay, fantastic. Okay, now one of the theories of motivation I talked about was this homeostatic motivation, and I spent a couple of slides, I think, talking about. Right, that's cool, no problem, Sophia. Hopefully this example helped you out a little bit. I did talk a little bit about one motivated behavior that your body engages in is this equilibrium motivation called temperature regulation. Your body maintains a consistent temperature. You want to keep your internal body core temperature, if you will, somewhere close to 98.6 degrees. If you look in that chapter, I did tell you what brain structure is involved in that. Can somebody tell me what brain structure is responsible for monitoring your body temperature and keeping it in the proper range? Can anybody tell me? And while I'm waiting on the answer there, I did tell you that there are motivated behaviors. Hypothalamus, Kira, fantastic. Let's give Kira a round of applause there. Fantastic. Good job. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, I also listed a set of motivated behaviors that organisms engage in order to help maintain that temperature balance when it starts to get out of whack. I want you to be familiar with those motivated behaviors. Bhupendar Singh got it right as well. Oh, excuse me, Tudone, Anna Grace, fantastic. Sophia, there you go, you got that one. Fantastic, a lot of people got that one. Congratulations. Okay, cool. Now, if you look, the number 3 question, there are 2 questions about the general theories of motivation. If you look on PowerPoint 9A, slide 3, I have a table there, and it lists the 5 general theories of motivation. And so, you know what? Why don't I do this? Hold on just a second. First 8-week class lectures. Why don't I even do this for you? Boom. Chapter 9A. All right. This sheet right here. This sheet right here. You see satisfactions of needs, drive reduction, optimal level of arousal, pleasure principle, and incentive. You see these examples? Now, I'm not going to use these examples. I'm going to make it a little more difficult than that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 questions with examples, and you're going to have to tell me, is it drive reduction? Is it optimal level of arousal? Is it incentive? Or is it the pleasure principle? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Then discriminate among the motivations proposed by the psychodynamic theorists Horney, Adler, and Freud. If you'll go to your sheet right here, let's see. Where are my? It's probably on the other page. We talked about. Oh, here we go. Satisfaction of needs. So. Sigmund Freud said people are driven by a desire for sex. Alfred Adler said people are motivated by a need for power and a feeling of inferiority. And Karen Horney, suggested people are motivated by the need for security and the fear of being alone. So I want you to remember security and being with other people, power, and sex. Those are the 3 different motivations that these folks said drove people. So I'm going to give you a multiple choice question where I want you to know the difference between these different types of motivation. Okay? Let's see, Maslow's up. And then I do have 2 questions about Maslow's theory of motivation. Do I have that right here? Okay, fantastic. So I have a question where I want you to know generally Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, you need to know this little paragraph right here, and then I want you to know what self-actualization is, which is right down here. So I want you to know that, and I want you to know this. Okay, just 2 general questions about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, I see how to use the chat. Good deal. Okay, cool. I see Kyria's finally learned how to use the chat. Kyria, did you finish the, join the exam review? Kyria, it looks like you haven't, so I'm going to go ahead and send that again in the chat bar for you. Let me do that right here. Go ahead and make sure you fill out the attendance sheet so that you can get credit for being here. Okay? Boom. Okay, Jasmine's joined it. Good deal. And I'm sure Kira will in just a minute. Okay. Okay, let's see. Then we talked about the general models of emotion. Okay, let's see. PowerPoint 9B, general powers of emotion. Which one was that? Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so there are 2 general theories of emotion. So there's one called the Circumplex Model, which says you can characterize models based on their valence and their energy. I want you to know a little bit about the Circumplex Model. Okay. No, I take that back. I'm going to ask you about Paul Ekman's model, the universal emotions, and I want you to know why people have motivations. That's what I'm going to ask you about. I forget. I'm going to ask you why people have motivations, and I want you to know about Paul Ekman and his primary emotions. He says that human beings have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 universal emotions. No matter where you go in the world, a smile is a smile. Can anybody tell me what this emotion is? What emotion is that? I'll wait and see if anybody gets it. Did I do a good job acting? Oh, that's a terrible acting. I'm watching that. That's terrible. What about this emotion? Do you know what that emotion? Angry, mad. Yeah, very good. Fantastic. You better get that one. Surprise. Fantastic. Shock. Okay, good deal. You folks have got it going on. Okay, there's 6 major emotions. I do 7 major emotions. And no matter where you go in the world, they are the same. People use them differently. Okay. Excuse me. The functions of emotions. I already talked about that. I guess I have 3 questions, so I am going to ask you about the Circumplex Model of emotions, okay, up here. So I have 1 question about the Circumplex Model of emotions, this one right here, and 1 about primary emotions. So I'm actually going to ask you 3 questions off of this PowerPoint right here, it looks like. I wrote this exam a couple of weeks ago, so I've forgotten the exact questions. Let's see. Developing emotional control. Okay, so I actually asked this in class last night. What are the 2 areas of your brain that are associated with your emotions? What two brain areas are associated with emotions? We talked about them within the context of stress, but stress is an emotional response. And so I'd be curious to see if anybody knows that. Okay, so I want you to know those 2 brain areas. And then I have 1 question. Back in the 1800s, they talked about general models of emotion. And let me see, this chart right here, the James Lange theory, the Cannon-Bard theory, and the 2-factor theory, the amygdala and the frontal lobe. Good job, Sophia. You are right on track. So I am going to give you a description of one of these three theories, and I want you to be able to identify which theory I am talking about. Okay, so that's chapter 9. Anybody have any questions about chapter 9? Okay, chapter 11. We have 11 questions, 5 true false, 1 matching, and 5 multiple choice. Okay, so here's the deal. I have 2 questions about genetic versus mature biological expression of sex. Now it turns out, genetically speaking, there are only 2 sexes. There are males and there are females, genetically speaking. You either have the Y chromosome or you don't have the Y chromosome. So when you see people in the media saying that there are only 2 sexes, genetically speaking, you either have the X chromosome or you don't have the chromosome. But in the lecture and in the PowerPoint, what I tried to get across to you was how those genes are expressed sometimes can get a little mixed up. And I talked about we have primary and secondary sex characteristics. And sometimes people get exposed to too much of the male hormone or the female hormone, or they might have a chromosomal abnormality, which leads them to have sort of both male and female primary and secondary sex characteristics. So I'm going to want you to know that genetically speaking, there are only 2 sexes, but in terms of mature sexuality, it's a variation. And so transgender people, I know a lot of people, I come from the conservative South, and a lot of my friends would say that transgender people are just faking it, but this is in fact not the truth. So I do want you to understand that both of these groups are right. Genetically 2 sexes, but with the expression of mature sexuality, it's a little more complex. Okay, let's see. 3 questions on the biology of sex. So I'm going to ask you which chromosomes are the sex chromosomes. I want you to know what that important gene is that turns you into a male or starts the process of becoming a male or female. And I also want you to know which hormones are associated with males and females. Remember, we talked about testosterone and estrogen. Okay, let's see. Now I do have a matching question. There is I do have a chart here. Let's see, go to it. Right here. No, right here. Okay, chromosomal abnormalities that can occur in the 23rd pair of genes. I'm going to give you descriptions of these, so I'm going to want you to match these blue parts. Oh, goodness me, I am so sorry. Okay, here we go. I am so sorry. I'm going to want you to match these blue parts right here, okay, with these black parts right here. So I might give you Turner syndrome, XYY syndrome, XX syndrome, and XXY syndrome. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to do a matching question there. Okay, so chromosomal abnormalities and their description. In the chart, I did talk about the difference between primary and secondary sex characteristics right here. Primary and secondary sex characteristics right here, biological sex. Go ahead and make sure you're familiar with the primary sex characteristics and secondary sex characteristics. I'll have a multiple choice question where I want you to know the primary versus secondary sex characteristics. Actually, I take that back. I have one question on what the primary sex characteristics are and one question on what the secondary sex characteristics are. We then talked about gender identity. I want you to know the definition of gender identity, and I also want you to know the definition of gender role socialization. At the very time you're born, we start training you to be either a male or female based upon what we believe your sex to be. So whenever you're born, if you're a boy, your parents are immediately going to put you in a blue outfit. If you're a female, your parents are immediately going to put you in a pink outfit. And based upon your perceived sex, they're going to give you specific kinds of toys. Okay? Hold on just a second. I've got to knock at the door. Can you come back to Sorry, folks. I had a knock on the door. Okay, and then I do want you to know about nature-nurture. Is your sexuality determined by your nature or your nurture? A lot of people ask this kind of question because they say that being brought up by homosexual parents is likely to make you homosexual. I want you to read in the PowerPoint and determine whether or not that is in fact true or not true. Okay, that's chapter number 10. Does anybody have any questions about chapter number 10? Okay. Unfortunately, Kira, I still don't see you listed here on the attendance chart. So I'm going to help you out. Kira Ponticakos. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to help you out this one time. Let's see. Okay, and Kira is Anna. Kira is Anna. Kira is Anna. Anna, did you, Anna Jolie, is that you? Make sure you complete the, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and type the attendance chart in here one more time. Boom. Okay, good. I just want to make sure everybody gets credit for being here. All right, so let's go back. Now, the final chapter is chapter 11. I have 12 questions. 3 of those are true-false questions, and 9 of those are multiple choice. I do want you to know the subfield that's interested in stress and coping. Health psychologists are going to be the psychologists that are probably most interested in health and stress and coping. Last night we talked about the brain areas and the hormones involved in the stress response. Remember, it's that stinking hypothalamus again. The amygdala activates the hypothalamus, which starts a chain of a cascade of hormonal responses. I want you to be familiar with the stress hormone. It's cortisol. Remember, your hypothalamus causes your adrenaline glands to release cortisol, which is good in the short term, but not good in the long term. If you go to chapter 11, let's see, chapter 11, boom. I want you to be familiar with this little circle right over here, this biopsychosocial model. Right here, you'll see this is on chapter 11A. It's the chapter 3. Oh, by the way, everybody, I want you to meet my grandma, Nana. She lived to be 101 years old, and she was the strongest, most stress-free, most happiest woman I ever saw. This lady drove her car and lived by herself till she was 100 years old. And these are Nana's rules for living a long life. And you know what? I promise you, you should follow Nana's rules. You will be a happier person. Okay? Let's see. The biopsychosocial model of stress. Experiencing stress. I want you to know that stress is not an event, it's a response to event. So the things that bother some people do not bother other people. And that's what I tried to talk to you about last night in lecture. I wanted you to know that you can train yourself to deal more successfully with stress. And I told you that I wasn't judging anybody who feels stress, but I just want you to know that there are ways that you can learn to deal with stress. If you remember last night, I talked about Hans Seeley's general adaptation syndrome, the gas model, and I suggested to you that we have your stress response to long-term stressors goes through these 3 stages. You have the alarm stage, then you have what did I call that? The alarm stage. Then you've got your oh my goodness, I forget the middle part. Your hyper oh my goodness, what is that word? I'm sorry, sometimes I forget the word right here. You've got your resistance stage and then your exhaustion stage. So I do want you to be familiar with this little part right here, okay? Don't do that, Chris. Okay. Discriminate between daily hassles and major life challenges. So, in talking about stress, let me see which, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that. Let's see. I think we talked about, nope, it's on the other one. It's on 11B. Oh, I talked about, these are major life changes. So I said sometimes big things happen to us, and those are things like having a parent die, changing your major, getting married, getting divorced. Having a new baby is an awesome thing to happen, but it is incredibly stressful as well. So positive stressful events can also challenge us. And then I talked about daily hassles. And daily hassles are just those things that happen to us every day that kind of just annoy us. Traffic, that annoying coworker you have to argue with every day. And so I want you to be able to discriminate between daily hassles and major life changes. We talked about the type A personality in lecture. I want you to know the type A personality. People who are stressed out, people who have these extreme personalities tend to get more stressed out than others. This type A personality. Some of you are probably type A personalities. Are you an impatient person? Are you a competitive and achievement oriented person? And are you an angry person? If you have those 3 characteristics, you might be known as a type A personality. And type A personality are more likely to experience stress and have heart problems as a result of stress. And research has shown that really it's not so much about being impatient or competitive, but the worst thing about the type A personality is those people who get super duper angry. So I want you to know that for the exam. Okay? I had a question about gender differences in anorexia, and I want you to go into your PowerPoint and discover, do boys get anorexia? You clicked on the link, but nothing happened? Don't worry about it, Kira. I filled you in anyhow. Has anybody not filled in the attendance chart? If you haven't, go ahead and type in the chat bar, and I will write your name in for you. Okay? I'll do it. So apparently Kira's having a little bit of technical problems. Boston Rinaldi. Really? Dadgummit. I wonder what's going on. I'm going to type it in one more time. There you go. So you're telling me that doesn't work. Anna Grace, Boston, and Regina. Anna Grace, hold on. Boston, Rinaldi, and sorry about that. I've got all these hotkeys, so sometimes I've got all these hotkeys, so when I hit enter, Kyla Miller. So Kyla, did you not get in it either? See me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the video. All right. Okay. So that represents the exam. I've spent 40 minutes going over this. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't take too long. Does anybody have any questions before I end this broadcast? You know, this broadcast in this hotel, my internet speeds were not as high as they usually were. Did anybody have any trouble hearing me, or was my video choppy today? I'd be curious to find out. I'm trying to find out how bad the internet can be, and I can still do a YouTube broadcast. Did everybody hear me fine today? Yeah, the black screen was my fault. The black screen was my fault. Okay, cool. Cool, excellent. Okay, audio was good. Was about males and females. The last question was about being married. The last question was about being married. Okay, well, you know what? Let me go back real quick. It probably was because I hit the wrong button. I'll guarantee you that was my fault. Okay, so here you go. I want you to know gender differences in anorexia. I want you to know when people typically start smoking and what happens to people who start smoking during teenage years. I want you to know that exercise helps protect your mind from dementia. And I want you to know that although I'm not judging you, for some reason getting married appears to help people lead longer lives and feel more well-being. Okay? All right, folks. Hey, good luck. I know you can do this. You folks are going to do fine. Be sure you finish the exam by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. If you run into any technical difficulties, please send me a text and I will help you just as quickly as I can. Folks, you take care. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.